Good morning, Summoners, and welcome back to the Garena LVL. My name is Vulcan, and with me is Chisto, your shoutcasters entering the last week, the last day of the group stages before we move on to the playoff stage.
Yeah, and of course, today we have very interesting storylines. UST and TUP, they're going to be battling it out for the top seed, so I'm very excited to see how these matches turn out.
So, let's look at the schedule to see how today's broadcast will pan out onto the schedule. First match we have in store for you, the delayed game actually of UST versus iAcademy, followed by UPD and MCL, and again AMA versus FIT. But for the grand finale, the last game, TUP versus UST, the battle for first seed.
Yeah, of course, I'm very excited to see how that final matchup goes, but of course we have to see first how UST will perform versus iAcademy, because if they drop a game here, that means they can't tie TUP for first seed.
So let's have a recap of the standings to see what do we mean by tiebreakers. But right now, TUP sitting at 9-1, whereas Teletigers, they'll be playing their 2 games today. iAcademy first, and then TUP.
And like we mentioned, all of these games for the Teletigers today are very important as far as these standings go. So man, I am excited to see how they perform.
And I would like to congratulate right now that UST and TUP, they have secured their slot, and also for AMA moving on to the playoff stage. So this last week of the group stages, I would say more on let's treat it as a goodbye and moving on to the playoff stage.
Yeah, possibly ending on a high note as well for the teams that unfortunately didn't make it to the playoff stage.
So I think we are about to introduce our players here. I mean, we've seen our players play in the LVL, but let's have a recap of our player roster. I mean, in the iAcademy Game Changers lineup versus the UST Teletigers, one player that stood out for you, Chisto. Who is it?
I think Episode stood out in a sense where he was making his debut, and really that's a lot of pressure on you, and unfortunately for them, they weren't able to perform to their expectations. Hopefully this time, Episode can possibly perform better.
So to our viewers out there, note that, again, I keep stressing it because today is the exciting day, the conclusion of the group stages before we move on to our first ever playoff stages to see who will face the first seed. So as far as I can tell, for UST, TUP, and AMA, they are actually, for UST and TUP rather, they're just battling for the first seed. So who will be waiting in the finals? We'll see today.
I mean, I don't know, but of course, we've always mentioned TUP. They're very consistent throughout the LVL, and UST is actually one of those teams that match up to them, but we're yet to see how they actually play versus each other until the final match for today.
I think we have to look out for our players too. I mean, when we're talking about our players, who to look out for, but we'll see it once we move on to the drafting phase for our first match of Game 1 of UST versus iAcademy.
Yeah, so very interested to see how both these teams will be playing. I think we are playing on patch 8.1, so new patch, no major changes yet. But there were a few Zoe nerfs and a few small buffs here. Their brand has been slightly buffed, Skarner has been slightly buffed, so maybe we'll get to see these picks come out possibly.
Maybe for the brand because the increase is pretty strong, but this is the first of many patches going on. And welcoming Season 8 of the League of Legends, and I'm pretty excited because I'm hearing a lot of good changes, not just from the support line of items, but also I'm pretty sure that we had a lot of changes. One of the most definite changes, I would say, was the Drakes being elemental. But let's see what has Season 8 has in store for us and the players in the LVL.
Yeah, of course. I'm very excited to see how they adapt because League of Legends is always evolving as a game. So for these players in the competitive scene, it's very important for them to always stay on top of their game, really adapt to what the meta is.
And so far I would say for the LVL, as far as the run has went, I'm pretty proud of our players right now, especially the schools. The first 7 pioneering schools right now in the LVL. But let's get straight to the drafting phase of iAcademy versus UST.
Yeah, let's see what these teams want to bring out from their bag of tricks. Of course, for the Teletigers here, if they get a 2-0, they tie TUP for first seed. But iAcademy Game Changers, they can play the spoiler here. If they go 1-1, that means UST cannot tie for the first spot.
And so far for the game changers, sitting on the blue side, immediately banning up the Zoe, Vladimir, and Carrots Tristana.
Yeah, and of course, we've seen Carrots. He's practically a madman, and Tristan is one of those champions where you can just play super aggressive, hopping in, and iAcademy don't want to deal with that hyper carry threat from the UST Teletargets. They ban it out, and now Ornn is up, and he's a fairly high priority pick, but iAcademy will jump onto the Malzahar here, trying to go for the pick potential. Like I mentioned, Ornn, very high priority pick. UST are hovering over this, and I do believe they will lock this in.
This is actually bad news for iAcademy because we know that Ornn is one of the champions who are at most banned all the time. Not just from the fact that he is one of the most oppressive top laners and one of the strongest top laners right now, but due to the fact that, I gotta say, if you see an enemy Ornn, you're not gonna have a good time. But let's see if the game changers have a plan to counter this Ornn pick.
Yeah, but of course, with the Ornn, UST have locked in the vein of Carrots, and we know he can perform on this champion. Once he gets sufficient items, he can just really pop off and carry UST once the late game team fights start. And for iAcademy, their late game insurance is the Gangplank, which could possibly go to the top lane here. Gangplank scales very well into the late game, but it's very tricky to actually get him there because he has a very weak early laning phase.
But this can immediately be, let's say, countered by the fact that if this Gangplank definitely will be running the Kleptomancy, this gives him a guaranteed safe free lane. So this Ornn could be his ATM machine. And moving on to the mid game, because as we all know, Kleptomancy on the Gangplank is very good.
Practically free gold, man.
It's actually free farm, free lane. So let's see how the UST Tigers can try and end the game early, because if this Gangplank does reach late game, it's gonna be a troublesome top laner to deal with.
Yeah, but of course, with the second rotation of bans coming in, iAcademy are yet to lock in their bot lane unless they want to flex the Malzahar into the support role, which we have seen. We haven't seen the picks come out yet though, so it's now UST's choice. What do they want to go for now that the Orianna has been the final ban from the iAcademy game, denying a safe pick from Sarah's pool?
This is very interesting for iAcademy because we're seeing a Malzahar could be a flex pick, but for UST, pretty solid. We're seeing an Ornn, a Sejuani, a Vayne. Very troublesome picks against game changers because we're seeing one of the most picked champions, especially Carrots Vayne, in the hands right now for UST Tigers. But for the game changers, I would say for Sawyer's Gangplank, could this be their saving grace?
Maybe it will be, but looking at what UST has locked in here, it's a very strong team fighting comp. Once the late game comes, you have the Lulu to protect the Vayne, and you have the Ornn and Sejuani to act as the front line, act as these meat shields to stand in front of the Vayne, and let Carrots just let it rip on the iAcademy game changers. And it's really wise that they save their mid laner for the last pick so that Sarah has the luxury of getting a good matchup and seeing what iAcademy has in store for him. So he gets a counter pick. So it's very nice for UST.
So let's see, because this game, this first match in the 7 of all the 8 games is very important, because this can really shape up who will be the first seed, who will be waiting in the final stage of the LVL.
Yeah, and iAcademy...
if UST could get a 2-0 here, they would be tied with UB.
Yeah, and of course, with that being said, iAcademy here, they've locked in the classic Zyre Ashe combo in the bot lane. A lot of kill potential in that lane, a lot of poke as well, so that's very impressive. Carrots and Kresha will not have a good time dealing with that poke, and UST Teletargets, they're going to round out their comp with the Syndra, a very solid pick versus the Malzahar. She has enough kill pressure to actually burst down the Malzahar, but it's a matter of who pulls the trigger first, because as we know, you can't cleanse away from a Malzahar ultimate unless you buy the QSS, so it'll be very dangerous for Sarah if Import and Hio go for these ganks mid lane, because it's very effective, very easy to execute as well.
So we're seeing a very suppressive composition for iAcademy, but for UST, they're rather, I would say, kind of in the mobile sense, because we're seeing Vayne, a very tricky ADC to try and lock him down if you do have the final hour. But we'll see if this could be the chance for iAcademy to strike down UST and perhaps just deny their teams of being first seed. We'll see in this first match.
Yeah, looking at the win conditions for both teams, No Vulcan, iAcademy Game Theory, it's very clear what they want to do. They want to set up for picks, use the Ash Arrow, use the Zyrus there, use the Malzahar ultimate, try to single out a person from UST who is caught out of position and just burst him down instantly before a fight even starts. As for UST, once this goes into those 5v5 team fights, I really have to favor their lineup because they have a lot of CC and a lot of cleanup damage to follow up on that CC once it lands. So it definitely comes down to execution, and if iAcademy Game Chairs are able to look for these picks in the early game, it's going to be very hard for UST to set anything up.
And I think for execution, it's more on UST's side because we are seeing Ornn and a Sejuani paired up together. So you're seeing more of a plan B in case Ornn's ultimate does win. It does offer a huge slow, a powerful slow, not to mention strips tenacity, so this can complement the Sejuani's Glacial Prison. So we'll be seeing this all in play once we load up to the Rift because this could change. This is the first LVL, so you might as well make a name for yourself here and for UST. If they want a guaranteed chance to claim that championship, they would have to try and 2-0 the Game Changers.
Now, of course, not a easy task as well because all these teams, I think iAcademy, they're well prepared to face UST here. They have a very clear strategy, so I wonder, can they act on that strategy because it's very, very clear what they want to do.
So let's see it all once we get into the Rift. This is, again, the first match of many because as far as I like to say about the LVL, it's more of a step up into the collegiate scene of the Philippines because this is the first ever LVL where the schools are actually involved in making the players grow. So they're considered students in their own school, playing for their school's name. I think it's a great step forward for the esports scene here in the Philippines.
It's definitely a great step forward for the Philippine esports scene, and like Arctic always mentions, usually the semi-pro scene, the collegiate scene, is sort of a scouting grounds for players who might potentially want to go pro and make it into PGS.
Go on. I mean, when you're talking about going pro, we do have examples of, I think, for the LCL scene rather, Neat and Iconic did manage to move into the pro gaming series as Naga Esports.
And maybe we get to see the next generation of pros here in the LVL. Who knows? Maybe some of them have those aspirations as well, have those dreams of being a pro player, traveling the world, and just competing internationally, man. I mean, that's a life.
That's going to be their dream, and let's see if this could be their stepping stone, because we all know that if you want to be champions of LCL or LBL, it's kind of a harsh reality that only the best, only the highest ranks, or not just the ranks itself, the highest team synergy can try and take away the name of being champions.
That's just the nature of competition, Vulcan, of course. There's always going to be a bigger fish in a sense where you think you're good, but there's always going to come somebody who's better than you, and you just have to train hard in order to overcome that.
And so far, when you're talking about LVL, aren't you excited for PGS though?
I am definitely excited for PGS, man. I mean, we finally get to see the PGS back after such a long break. I'm very excited.
The Spring Split will start in January 19, 3 p.m. So make sure to check out our Facebook page for the Garena LOL Collegiate. Yes, Chisto?
Like the Garena Pro Gaming Series page as well.
Yes, and like the Garena Pro Gaming Series page, because if you want to be updated, you might want to check it out and see. Maybe you would find this upcoming Spring Split 2018 of the PGS rather interesting.
Yeah, definitely. It will be interesting, of course. We have returning players, we have new players, so that's a lot to really expect, and I'm very, very excited and hyped for this.
I'm more excited for the LVL, the fact that I'm excited to know who will be the first champions to be written down in the history books as the first champions of the LVL, the first ever term.
Well, looking at the standings, of course, TUP, they look very poised to win that champion, given that they've been the most consistent team, and nobody's really given them much of a challenge, I should say. So, maybe I'd say TUP are heavy favorites to actually win the championship.
TUP?
TUP.
Are you sure about that? Because I have to agree with you on that the TUP is rather strong. But we know that when you're moving on to the championship, it's a best of series. So it's not a it's not a 2-game series. It's a best of 5.
Right now, I'd say they are favorites, but I'm not saying no team can challenge them because the other 2 teams that are entering the playoffs, AMA and UST, are very, very scary as well, and they could definitely give TUP a challenge once that comes.
And also for me, AMA retaliated esports. They also caught me by surprise in one of their games, and that game was able to secure them the 3rd seed of the LVL and possibly make themselves move on to the playoff stage, whereas the other schools will be waiting for their time to shine. Let's see if they'll improve once we will move on to the next term of the LVL.
Yeah, but of course, we're yet to determine who AMA will be facing in the playoff stage. It could be TUP, it could be UST, who knows? I mean, today's games are very, very interesting, I should say, because the scenarios are very important for all the teams. They really need to win their games.
I think it doesn't matter because for AMA, if you just make it to the playoff stage, it doesn't really matter in the sense that as long as you make it there, you're okay. You can still try and change whatever you lack. You can try and fix it because once you move to the playoff stage, we only know one fact. Only the best will win among the 3. And even if you're 3rd seed, but turns out you're the best of the 3, you'll still win. We did see this before in the PGS scene, and we might see it in the LVL.
Who knows? Maybe we will, but man, I'm really excited to wait for this. I'm really excited for this game to start, I should say, because I think iAcademy Game Care, they really prepared a great strategy versus UST, trying to shut down their team fight comp with a comp that wants to end fights before they even start.
And fights? Like more of a poke composition, no?
No, get a pick comp.
Pick?
Yeah, where you single out a member with layer all your CC onto them, use the tools they have, and really just pick off a member so it is instantly a 4v5 before the team fight even starts.
Like the Malzar and the Gangplank, no? I'm really glad to see that, but I think it's more on execution, as you said, and
it's always about execution.
It's always about execution.
Yeah, I mean, I would say the game can be won through pick and ban if you get a stronger draft, but once you load onto the Rift, it's really up to the players who are clicking and pressing their keyboards, and whoever does that better compared to the enemy team will usually end up on top.
And so sorry for the delay because we are experiencing some technical difficulties on our side, and we apologize for that. We'll resume our match 1 in a bit, but still, stay tuned, guys, because as we all know, this is something of UST's stepping stone, moving on to the finale of tonight's broadcast, which would be TUP versus UST. So stay tuned, we are experiencing some difficulties.
Yeah, maybe iAcademy will make UST trip.
We'll see.
It is a stepping stone, but you could still miss. I wonder. Huh? You can trip on a stepping stone. You step and then you...
I don't relate.
Anyway.
Corny.
Ah.
Now you're in the hot seat. Why do you do that to yourself, Chista? You put yourself in the hot seat.
I don't know. Maybe you put me there.
Take the plunge.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. But as we all know, when you're talking about the LVL, things like this can happen. Mistakes in your life. Everyone is watching. And Chista just made himself a name for himself as the first ever cheesiest caster in the LVL. I'm kidding, bro.
Cheesiest?
I'm corny.
I mean, those are the names, so I guess, yeah.
But for our viewers out there, we are going to be starting in a while for match 1 of game 1. Note that again, this is a 2-game series, not the best of 3, not the best of 5, because we are still in our last stage of the group stages.
Yeah, and I wonder, will we see the same trend we saw last week where all of the teams that won the first game eventually made it to 2-0? If we see that trend today, it will be very interesting.
That's very brutal because the top 3 teams hasn't even given a single point to the bottom, I would say the bottom 4. That's pretty sad because what we noticed about last week's LVL was that all top 3 teams,
they went to 0.
Swept the competition.
And they're just showing their dominance, really showing why they are in the top 3, I should say. And today, we get to see them battle each other out.
And we are actually preparing ourselves moving on to the Rift again. So sorry for the technical difficulties and the delays. We are still experiencing some, I would say, bugs or whatever we can call them. But
it's a new patch.
It's a new patch. Technical difficulties. is kind of normal, and it cannot be avoided.
Yeah, very unfortunate.
What's with your face?
It's just my face. It's my natural expression. Do you have a problem with my natural expression?
No. At least you have eyes. I can see properly. See? It's just a line. But for the players, I
Okay.
wonder if they're actually ready for the new patches incoming, because let's say the LVL will end pretty much soon. I mean, at the end of this month, LVL we will be crowning one of our champions for the LVL. But the interesting part is what's gonna happen next time we have our LVL, because Season 8 is gonna change everything.
The next term, you mean?
The next term.
Maybe we'll get more schools, more games, more exciting games to cast, to watch.
And maybe new metas for after
Yeah.
Season 8 changes. I'm pretty excited for this Season 8. 8.1 was just more of an icebreaker. Moving on to the major changes.
It's a feeling out process.
It's a feeling out process. Especially the Zoe. I think that's pretty much a deserved.
Oh, you talk about Zoe. I think the 8.1 changes there aren't enough. I think she's still very anti-fun to play against, in a sense, where she can be very, very annoying still because she deals a lot of damage.
And we did see that in the last week's LVL, where Zoe was one of the annoying champions, especially one of the games where TUP was able to win, because the fact that you get a Zoe, it's really difficult to play against.
Yeah, and UST as well. They were able to pick up a win on Zoe, so showing the strength of the champion. If you know how to play her well and you're proficient at her, you're in a very good position to win if you're able to grab her in Champ Select.
And we know that Game Changers, they were smart enough to ban out the Zoe.
Yeah, so no anti-fun Zoe this game. This game we get to see Vayne hyper carries, Malzahar flash ulting. That's what we get to see.
And we get to see maybe Carrots being unleashed again, perhaps. But I don't think this is going to be the same case, because this time we have a Malzahar in the play here. So I wonder, could this be one of Carrot's downfall if he does not behave, or he kind of let loose?
Or maybe it'll be Carrots being a madman. They quoted you on that. Carrots is an absolute madman.
He is actually, when he plays as an ADC carry, not just from his Tristana, which you have to watch out for, but his Vayne that we did see once we came back from the New Year's break.
Yeah, but normally you'd see Vayne players play more passively in the early game, but once they get sufficient items, once you head past that threshold, she just absolutely goes off, and it's really exciting to watch.
Vayne players, huh? I think that they do have some kind of a mentality entering a game, but
Like you're making a montage,
yeah,
you're recording for your YouTube channel.
yeah, that's majority of the time of Vayne players that we see.
I mean, you have to look cool as a Vayne player.
Flashy plays,
Yeah, flashy
but none
plays.
other flashy plays can really outshine what Bam did in the last week's LVL with his Azir.
I was speechless after
With
that
his
play.
Azir, that was really memorable, I would say. His Azir with a 1 versus 3 outplay in the mid lane, and not just that, in the blue side of UPD, Bam just trapped themselves in. But I think we're about to move on to the Rift. Here are the actual final drafts.
Yeah, quick
both
recap
teams.
of what went down during the pick and ban phase. Tigers going for a more teamfight-oriented comp, whereas the Academy Game Changers went for a more pick-oriented comp where they want to catch out members of the UST Tigers to possibly make it a 4v5 before the fight even starts. So clear win conditions for both of these teams.
All right. These are the player cards. And now, without any more delay, we are very sorry for the difficulties. But now, we are ready to move on to match 1 of Game 1. Academy Game Changers versus UST Tigers. Let's see how things will unfold. And this is a very important game, because we will know if Tigers will tie against TUP.
Yeah, let's see how both teams decide to plan out their early games. Usually in the LVL, we just see point defense where all of the teams block out the entrances to their jungles to prevent invades from happening. And we're seeing that now. No really cheesy invades coming in yet. They can still go for some if they want to.
But that's too risky, knowing that I don't think any of them have a level 1 advantage over each other. But we do have a Zyra and an Ashe. That's very impressive in the bot lane.
Yeah, of course, dealing with the volley and the plants as well. And the changes to the plants, I mean, they have more HP now. So it'll be very hard to kill him. And man, that's a nice skin.
Is that the Hextech skin, I think?
It's a Dreadnova Gangplank
Yeah,
skin.
that's the Hextech Chroma skin. But now, what I want to look out for is the fact that I wonder if Cresho can try and stall the bot lane, because when we're talking about Zyra and Ashe, that itself is a pain to deal with.
Yeah, and talking about what Crusher has to do in lane here, normally when you're dealing with poke, you'd want to time your shields once the poke will land so that you get the most value out of Lulu's shields. But if you aren't able to time it right, you don't get the luxury of having the healing if you picked something like a Nami perhaps. And so Crusher really needs to be on point when shielding carrots if they go for these trades, because the poke coming from Zyra Ashe is very, very impressive. We see it now. They're already starting to get fairly chunked.
This is very interesting for the Teletigers because I can see that Carrots picked up the Relic Shield. This is one of the most used strategies we see as in Marksman. You get the overheal, you get the Target's Embrace, you get the shield battery, but they're not going to wait for the crashes very low with him flashing away and popping that heal. First Blood will be delayed for now.
Yeah, both summoners burned by Crusher right there, but Sinigang did burn his flash. So great value coming right there. And Cell, I think he's going to be ganked.
He gets the gank, knocks him into the air. That's going to be too close. I don't think Cell can survive this gank. This could be, and will be perhaps the... Oh, wait! Whoa. Oh, yes! First Blood with a Dragon Strike.
Just the end of that skill shot right there. Great placement by the Jarvan, and the early game pressure of the Jarvan giving more advantages to this Gangplank. Well played by iAcademy.
I would say I think Cell understood the shield will help him survive, but did not expect the Dragon Strike to land at the maximum range. But going back to what I was saying about the Relic Shield, that is very annoying to deal with because you have the overheal, and if you get the reward, you get the shield battery, you will have more shield. The shield can potentially shield you for half of your health.
Yeah, and to shed more light on why AD carries tend to pick this item, it just helps you do what AD carries want to do in lane. You want to farm, you want to get more gold, and having that Relic Shield, a GPM item, it just allows you to get your power spikes sooner, and it does build into something that you could use for more shielding as well. So it's very, very effective when trying to deal with these pokes.
This is bad news because we're actually gonna be seeing Carrots scale faster compared to Episode. Let's say Episode has 22 CS right now and 16 CS for the Vayne.
Oh my god, Cell.
Oh god. Flash is not available. He did burn his teleport, but here comes a gang. Sejuani goes in. Babyface focused on the heal. Very low in health though. Flash forced to flash away. Cell now takes in, knocks him to the air. This could be a double kill in hands here. Cell chasing down Sawyer with him. Oh, heal! Counterattacks with the combo and leaving Cell in an awkward spot. This is bad news. Looks like the tables are turned for the Teletigers. Bad news, but Sawyer will be getting the kill. 2-0.
What a disaster for UST Teletigers right there. iAcademy, they go back instantly to punish the early burned flash from Cell, and man, Babyface, he tried to turn that lane around by going for a gank, but unfortunately he just turns it around instantly, and that is huge for iAcademy Game Changers.
Starting off the game with a 3-0 kill score, nearing the 5-minute mark. Looks like the Game Changers are having a good start. Let's hope they maintain it, but everything can change when you move on to the mid game. Not from just from the fact that we're seeing Carrots on this Relic Shield. Could be bad news.
No flash in Sinigang.
No flash indeed. Permafrost will be not needed here because Crusher gets the kill.
I think they could have possibly given that kill over to Carrots, but still good kill secure there. And what proactiveness by Baby. He saw his first gank fail. He instantly goes bot lane to punish a flash to support. So great pickup there by UST. So now, as we move into this, I want to see how Hio will make use of his lead because he does have the advantage having the bombing scenery. He's tankier now, so they can possibly go for dives. And now that Import is level 6, there's still no QSS this early to the game on Sarah. If he just flash Ars onto the Syndra and the Jarvan follows up, he's just dead.
And I think this is the fact that the Game Changers, they have a composition that really scales well, I would say, in the early phases of the game. But we're seeing an Ornn, a Sejuani, a Vayne. These champions are one of the strongest champions, I would say, when it comes to the late game, especially this Ornn. Ornn itself is a low economy champion, and you pair that up with, let's say, Cell having an easy time in the lane, immediately getting the Ninja Tabi can really counter this Gangplank sustain.
Yeah, the early game for iAcademy Game Changers right now is very, very important because that's where their composition is strong. If they aren't able to snowball hard from the early advantages they get just from the picks they have, it's going to allow UST Teletigers to have a window to scale. And you don't want to let Horn and Vayne scale into the late game because that's a very scary combo.
No. Here comes Babyface again. Sinigang not having the flash. Should really be careful about overextending and warding this bot lane because we all know, we can see it already. Babyface is watching this bot lane, watching Carrots and protecting him to make sure he scales and he carries the game for the Teletigers.
Yeah, and looking at Carrots, he's locked into just farming in this bot lane. He's picked up the Relic Shield upgrade and the Cull as well. So we know the Vayne will just farm forever in this bot lane until she gets her core items. And Babyface is acting as that bridge that Vayne needs to get to that late game. And as for the iAcademy Game Changers, Sinigang gets punished being flashes twice. That is just a critical error, critical mistake. So he needs to be very, very careful because they know Babyface is just constantly going to go bot lane.
And I love the fact that taking note of a meta that's very much used, popular in the international scene we are seeing right now in the LVL, the Targon's Embrace Shield Battery will be up. If that's up, I think for Carrots, we'll have an easy time getting the shield for his overheal. Pair that up with the Bloodthirster. Oh my god, you're not gonna even flinch. You're just gonna stand there, and we are expecting, we're also seeing this Lulu get that 40% CD reduction. You get the shield instantly refreshed. This is very scary.
Yeah, and that's the best feeling as an AD carry when you can just stand there and not mind your positioning because you're life stealing so much. You get so much shielding, you really don't have to care about your positioning, so you can just face tank all the enemy's damage for days. So let's see how fast can Carrots scale towards a late game.
And how fast can Sawyer in the Game Changer side, top lane, can try and help his team. Double combo there, Cannon Barrage in the air, and that's going to be the dunk from here. Great coordination coming from the Game Changers.
Yeah, great execution as well, and great use of the Gangplank ultimate to just layer on more damage to take down the Sejuani. Like I mentioned, no QSS yet this early into the game, and you really won't be buying that item on Sejuani this early. You just get punished once Import and Hia team up for that CC chain.
And what I like to see is that once you're level 6 on the Gangplank, you have this global presence. Let's see if they will use it. They need that in the bot lane. Episode has debuted his LVL in not a really good manner because he has been pressured. He has been picked off. And now let's see. Can he step up here and perhaps, I would say, help out his team? But right now, I can see the top lane is having a really easy time out-sustaining. But surprisingly, I was expecting the Zarya and Ashe to deal more damage in the bot lane, but it turns out it was the opposite. Gang coming, flashes in, knocks into the air, and that's going to be Sarah overextending, forcing out a flash from Import, but Sarah's very low. Red buff doing the works to burn the Q. Yes, no! Ooh. Stopwatch stasis in, but still, that's enough time for Import to land the final blow.
Yeah, great play there from Import, flashing away from the range of the Unleashed power because I think Sarah would have possibly taken him down, and great timing as well. Just at the frame he left stasis, times the Malzahar Q perfectly, so they pick up a kill in the mid lane.
Right now, Babyface again in the bot lane. Goes in. Oh, look at that combo onto Episode. Gets condemned to the wall, but Cresho takes the kill again.
Unfortunate right there. I think USD are happy with that kill, but they would have been even happier if Carrots picked up the gold coming from that. And I think that pick-off in the bot lane from Babyface's gank will transition into this Ocean Drake. So this is a great pickup for the UST Teletigers.
Nothing says a great trade once you use your kills and transition that to an objective. That's how you play it. And now we're seeing that Teletigers, wait, it's still not yet in the blue zone for them. Gets stuck. Babyface, he has to survive. They need this Drake, but they're risking it all. And there's the arrow for the stun. And we see Carrots slow on mana. Can't tumble anymore. putting the members of Game Changers back. Here comes the Forge God, will not connect. And with that said, Babyface is very low. The Ocean Drake in the side of Game Changers, but for import against Sarah, that's going to be a 1-for-1 trade here. Cannibal Rush for the slow zone, and I think this is a nightmare for the Teletigers. We're seeing Sawyer get that double kill and maybe the triple, but no, Sinigang will be taking away that glory.
Yeah, we thought that was a free Ocean Drake for the UST Teletigers, but great turnaround by IAC. Knowing they can take the fight, they immediately turn it around, and since UST was spread out, they weren't able to make use of their superior team fighting comp, so great play there from iAcademy. And now as we transition here, of course, even though Episode was out of that fight, he was still able to contribute given that Ash has a global. He landed the arrow perfectly right at Babyface, so man, great cleanup as well. And I think iAcademy will also pick up the first turret of the game.
Oh, this is going to be a great pickup for the Game Changers. Not just the fact that, let's see, they got a sweet 4 kills in an Ocean Drake pit, but they also took away the Ocean that the Teletiger started.
Import.
Oh god, has a spell immunity, but that's not gonna last too long. Gets permafrosted and a stun, and with that said, Sarah, my goodness, with the coordination from Babyface, gets another kill.
Now let's go over the replay of the Dragon Pit fight. Babyface survives for so long, he tries to live, but even using Smite on the Ocean Drake, but still a great snare by Sinigang shuts down the follow-up on Call of the Forge God. And sorry, he's able to clean up the rest of this using his ultimate. And man, this is just great play by iAcademy. So aggressive as well.
And what happened here was, I think for the Teletigers, they did not respect the global pressures that a Gangplank does have. This sets them back. Let's see if they can bounce back in this first game. It's still early, and I think as of now, I think for Carrots, at this point in time, he should have the shield battery.
Yeah, looking at what's in Carrot's inventory, he's sitting on a pickaxe and a zeal, so I wonder what he'll build off of these items. I think it will be a possible static shift into Infinity Edge combo, but he's still so far off from that, and with the Gangplank being this fed, already a Trinity Force completed, he needs to be very careful and stay away from these barrels because he'll just blow up.
And not just from the CS himself, we can always expect the passive, the Silver Serpents adding more gold, plus the Kleptomancy can really boost the pace of this Gangplank.
iAcademy, they need to be very careful here. They're trying to brute force the mid lane tower, but unfortunately with the arrow missing onto Sarah, great dodge by him. The wave clear for UST is still up, so iAcademy, unfortunately, even though 5 members were there, aren't able to take down the tower. And what that does is it gives Carrots ample time to farm up, get more gold in his pocket. Being left alone as a Vayne, just a great feeling because there's no threat to you. You can just farm and get your items. And now, iAcademy, they need to find a way to delay Carrots from getting his gold, getting his farm, getting experience, really, getting resources.
And as for Cresho, he should really hold down his finger in his mouse, because if ever Carrots did get those 2 kills, the 1 kill rather, and 1 trade that Cresho got, I think that would have given Carrots more gold. Perhaps maybe the Berserker, at least the boots, tier 2 boots should be finished. By now we are seeing on Ash's side onto Episode, has the zeal, has the pickaxe, but the advantage here is that Magical Footwear was one of the masteries he took. Therefore, I think, as I can say, Episode is having an edge in terms of damage. But it's a Vayne. We still have to wait once we move on to the
Actually
mid-game.
wonder, maybe Episode went for Cosmic Insight to get maximum uptime on his arrows, get that 45% cooldown reduction, which will be very, very useful. And Babyface is on the wrong side of the map.
Let's see. He tries to get away, but Hio locks him to the air. Let's see.
And the grass
Sarah is there, but the arrow, ooh, close call. The arrow will not connect onto Babyface.
Bit of hesitation right there. They didn't want to go full on, pull the trigger onto the tanks of Giovanni because it would have taken a lot of time to actually take her down. So wise call, but whoa!
What a comeback from Cell. Looks like the mid-game favors the gods here. So for Cell taking down the Gangplank, solo kill in the bot lane.
How did that happen? That's very interesting because The Gangplank was the most fed member on I Academy, and Cell wasn't having the hottest game. He was 0-3 until that point where he got the solo kill. Maybe he's been awoken.
Maybe the fact that when he got his items, especially the Tabby itself, is more than enough. But the Righteous Glory, I don't think did too much of a work. But let's see.
Interesting. So, right now we see I Academy, they're pressuring top lane, and like we mentioned before, they want to delay Carrots as much as they can, and I don't think they're going to look for... I don't think they're going to find anything here because UST, they know they were there, and I think we're going to see a replay of the solo kill in the bot lane, and it was actually started getting chunked early, and Cell just able to pick up the kill with Call of the Forge God, so great solo kill right there.
Great solo kill for Cell. Looks like the kill score will be 9-6. Gold lead not yet in anyone's favor, but let's see if Sawyer can be picked off. The majority of the gold that the Game Changers have can fall.
I think I Academy will be taking the second turret of the game for their side. Sarah is not here to defend. Will Babyface be able to defend? I don't think so.
You can't defend when you're talking about a Jarvan and a Malzahar with his Voidling. So with that said, that's going to be the second turret for the Game Changers, whereas the Teletigers have no objective secured on their side. Looks like IAC, they're stepping it up just a bit, but let's see. The shield battery right now is in play, and my god, that shield is just ridiculous.
Yeah, but even with the tower advantage being on the side of I Academy Game Changer.
Oh, Sarah goes in for the dunk, but Babyface counters that, but the Cannon Barrage is in play. The Unleashed Power will finish up here.
Oh, there's no more tower here.
Coming in, the arrow will channel through and will land onto Babyface. He cannot escape, but still makes it away with the Arctic Assault over that wall. Sarah looking onto Sawyer, but 4 members are just there in the mid lane, just getting chunked down by this Syndra.
Yeah, and man, you have to respect Sarah's damage. Even though he was getting pressured mid lane, he has a large CS advantage. Look at that, 179 to 116. Sarah has been quietly and slowly farming, just biding his time, and realistically with a Syndra, as long as she gets her core items, Umbrella Nomicon and the Magic Pen paired as well, once she unleashes her power onto you, you're just gonna die.
And with that said, I guess the gold that Sarah farmed all throughout the lane is showing right now, just showing it off and flaunting that I can burst you down. Despite Hio is the one who initiated the fight, instantly regrets it.
Yeah, I Academy, they need to pick up the pace now because UST, they're beginning to scale. I Academy, they have the early game advantage, but I haven't seen them use their tools. I haven't seen a proactive arrow in Nethergrass to look for these picks, and they really need to begin looking for those before UST can scale, because if it reaches a point where they can't kill UST anymore, they're just going to lose this game.
Yes, we all know that I Academy, they are all about initial burst. You survive that burst, that's the time that UST can win that clash. That's the time that Teletigers can step up the game and perhaps change the flow. We need to look out. We need to wait for their time to strike. But for now, Game Changers in control of the lanes. But, oh, Carrots. Final hour has been popped. Oh my god, looks like Sawyer trying to get away from Carrots. He will not survive. Carrots flashes in. A flash for flash. Will he dive the turret? He does have the shield battery. Look at that shield. Taking in 4. Make it 5 hits. And still, Carrots survive. This is the power of overheal and the shield battery from the Targon's Embrace.
Yeah, and the redemption as well, coming from Crusher all over from the other side of the map, but still great play right there from the Gangplank, able to escape, because normally we'd see the Vayne able to run that down. And looking at what the setup is here right now for UST, they're looking at the Ocean Drake as their next objective, but maybe we'll see a sense of deja vu here. This was where disaster struck for them. This is where I Academy were able to clean up. So UST, they're trying to make this setup even clearer. Import is probably dead.
Getting pincered attack here. Glacial Prison is there for the slow, and the Scatter of the Week will connect. Import is gone. Sarah is on a killing spree.
Did Babyface actually predict that? He tossed it in the direction. He knew Import would burn his flash, and still great max range stun by Sarah, able to pick off the mid laner of I Academy. I wonder though, what objective can USC take from this?
And with that said, I think for Babyface's slow zone, the Glacial Prison just further, I think, narrowed down the escape for an import, and I think that was a great call. Let's see, 9-8 kill score, Game Changers still trying their best, especially Sawyer on this gangplank, doing still well, still able to survive this Vayne for now. But let's see if it will last that long, because I'm just worried for Game Changers, because once you move on to the mid game, and now if this Vayne gets the Infinity Edge, that's more than enough for the Teletigers to be the ones to start the fight and maybe contest a more powerful objective like the Baron.
Yeah, and looking at the gold score right now, even though it looks even, this favors UST Teletigers because they are the late game scaling comp. They benefit more from gold compared to the iAcademy game tiers. So I wonder, when will iAcademy start pulling the trigger? Because they're playing very, very passively here. They aren't using the tools they have. They're letting UST dictate the flow of the game.
And when you're talking about a gangplank, yes, the barrels do ignore the defense of the champions, but there's still a limit on what Sawyer can do on this champion. There is still this maximum time that he can stay up and pop those barrels. And when you're talking about Carrots on a Vayne, a marksman, you deny those barrels, you deny the damage coming from the gangplank. That really is the main damage source for the Game Changers right now. I don't see Episode dealing damage. I don't see Hio the one dealing the most damage physically. It's all up to Sawyer.
Yeah, and you mentioned iAcademy. They need to wake up now. They need to make something happen before this game gets out of reach for them. They have the tools to do it, but they're just not acting upon it. They need to execute on their game plan. They need to look for picks, because UST, they're going to run away with this game the longer it goes.
And as for the Game Changers, right now the role of this gangplank that can really help out his team is to be this powerful split pusher. And do not underestimate a gangplank split pushing, because those barrels, the trial by fire can actually burn the turrets, and you can easily refresh it with a quick cooldown from the barrels. So let's see. Maybe Game Changers can go for a more macro play in a sense, because if they go for a full-on clash, they would definitely lose. Seeing that we're seeing a Sejuani, an Ornn, and to top it all off, a Vayne.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all of your points right there, Vulcan. And even though Gangplank can push very fast, Ornn is very effective at defending, because he's one of those top laners that provides a lot of wave clear. Just one Q and then Bellows Breath, the wave is just gone. So unless they have a possible Baron buff, they really can't force against the Ornn. But we're going to see a fight.
Look at that. Babyface just goes in with the Glacial Prison. Here comes the Redemption. Will not heal anyone. Teleport incoming. Sawyer's in the scene. Cannon Barrage is ready. Just for them to at least, maybe if they want to start a clash in this choke point. That is dangerous. Forge got in. And Forge got out. Let's see. No, second knockup from the Teletigers. That will just be a disengage.
Yeah, so much hesitation right there coming from iAcademy. They didn't go for the Nethergraph, tried to pick off a target. They were scared of the re-engage coming from UST, and man, I think UST are beginning to just run away with this game, given that they are the ones dictating how this game is.
Oh god, take down this gangplank. You take away the majority that the Game Changers is dealing in physical damage, and if you take that away, Episode just got the Rune and Turrican and the Infinity Edge, but still, it's an Ashe, one of a utility marksman who can't do much in a close combat compared to a Vayne.
Yeah, and close margins right there. If Sarah had his ultimate, Sawyer would have definitely died, but luckily enough for him, he survives our ordeal.
Let's see, Carrots. I wonder what his next item will be, but if I would have to stick to the Target's Embrace strategy build, it would be a lifesteal item to further benefit it, or it could be the Bloodthirster, because at this point, Carrots, look at that ridiculous shield followed by the Lulu shield. You get a Bloodthirster on that, oh boy.
Or Carrots could pick up a Mercurial Scimitar. That is also a lifesteal item, and it's very, very effective versus iAcademy. It shuts down a lot of what they can do to actually catch him out, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Carrots pick up a QSS once he actually backs here.
Let's see, though, once we move on to the Baron, because what I love about the Baron, guys, is that you think you're winning the game, but no, you didn't win the game just yet, unless unless you can take the Baron first.
Yes. You think you're winning the game, and then Baron just says nope.
No.
Nope, you're not winning this game.
You're not winning this game. I'm gonna decide. In a sense, Baron could be this neutral monster that can work for you or against you. But let's see, because the Infernal Drake will be the next Drake live. This is one of the important Drakes in the game. Let's see. Oh,
you're dead.
God, that is just brutal. Looks like Hio, despite the early pressure that he did, great job for Hio. But
I think this will be Baron.
oh God, the 50-50 chances are gone.
Will he say nope though?
I don't think. I think Baron is pretty much favoring this part, but the Cannon Barrage will be there. But again, when you're going to the Baron pit without any vision, that is a suicide. Sarah in the guard. And with that said, the Teletigers takes away the Baron uncontested.
Yeah, and great play right there. They got the initial pick off onto the jungler and no smite. Like you said, no more 50-50, no more nope in the Baron pit. So wise decision there from UST Teletigers, immediately picking that up, and they wouldn't hesitate to take that because they do have the Vayne, and like I mentioned, the QSS coming out, it shuts down a lot of what iAcademy can do. So right now, UST Teletigers, they're just removing a lot of the options that iAcademy has if they want to come out on with a win.
They had it all. They had a good start. They maintained it in a good pace, but as time goes by, no gold will lead to that much of an advantage if your lineup, the champions that you picked, do not scale or do not favor time here. But look at that beautiful Glacial Prison, immediately removing Pipiso and Carrots, going all in onto Sinigang, gets the double kill, and now on to here under the turret. Could this be the triple? But yes, it is the triple, and the ace of the game, unofficial ace.
Yeah, sorry, is still alive, and there's just so much Gangplank can do versus this Baron empowered push. I don't think he'll be able to defend this. Babyface is trying to go for Gangplank. Nope.
One mistake that changed everything. That the fact that Hio got picked off in the blue side, immediately just 1 minute passed, and this is the result of it. This is scary. This is what you should expect when you're playing in the LVL scene. This is what you should expect at all when you're in the mid game. But let's see the replay here. Break it down for us, Chisto.
And right here, Episode, he had his summoners up. He could have flashed away from the Glacier Plane. It could have survived for more of that fight. Unfortunately, 80 carry down, no real damage left, like you mentioned. The only damage sources coming from iAcademy are the Ashe and the Gangplank. So with those threats gone, Carrots can just absolutely go off with no fear in the world.
Oh my God, look at that itemization. Guardian Angel.
He doesn't want to die.
He doesn't. He's not. He's immoral right now. And if I had to see the gold lead, the individual gold for each champions, obviously this Gambler has more gold from the fact that he did run the Klepto and have the Silver Serpents. Ooh, look at that. Juice.
That feels good.
That feels really good. One of Gamplak's many wet dreams.
Yeah, but he can only keep this up for so long because once UST Teletigers group up and siege, it's going to be very hard for iAcademy to stop that because they just don't deal enough damage.
And from the
shielding on Carrots.
It's ridiculous, I know. I mean, you're running the Ardent Sensor that gives extra shield. This is one of the metas that I find rather annoying.
It's like, it's his own health bar. Look at that.
God, I think
that's disgusting.
That's just disgusting and pretty cheesy. But the arrow misses. Looks like Carrots. He's not just gonna die from this one.
Yeah,
and
UST can just brute force this inhibitor.
Looks like UST will just be running away with this game. Let's see. Doc will not connect, but Hio, he cannot survive. And with that said, Carrots goes in to Episode. Final hour is proc, and that said, this could be the Teletigers securing game one here. Carrots going in deep, going behind the lines, gets Episode. And Sinigang, the only one remaining, the Forge God, will not reconnect, but Sinigang will give the double kill to Carrots.
Yeah, and with that ace, I think this will be the UST Teletigers picking up the win in the first match of today. So well-played game by them. They're gonna knock down the final Nexus turret, and man, Carrots just didn't take any damage that fight.
Well, I'm pretty happy that when comes Season 8, that Target's Embrace will not have the shield battery. But let's wrap it up. Game 1 goes to the Teletigers.
Yeah, and like we mentioned, clear-cut win conditions for both teams. iAcademy Game Changers, they had the early advantage, but they weren't able to snowball off of it. They let UST Teletigers scale, and just disaster struck once they got those core items they needed. iAcademy just could not respond to the force that UST shoved at them.
They did well, I would have to say. They tried their best in the early phases of the game. They got a first blood. A really good start that the Game Changers had. But it's the fact that they started playing passive after all that, but I think that's because that the nature of the champions itself, Malzahar and Ash, they are more of utility-based champions, not more on burst compared to a Syndra.
Yeah, definitely, and ooh, look at the damage coming from Sarah.
Look at the damage, I would say, for this mid lane, Sarah on the Syndra. As I said before, there is something wrong when the Zyra, the support, dealt more damage than the mid laner. Because the fact that Zyra is this burst champion, I'd say, Malzahar is more of a utility compared to a Zyra. But with that said, the Teletigers will be securing Game 1 of Match 1. We'll be in the Shotcasters. My name is Vulcan, and with me was Chisto. See you after the short break for the continuation of the 2-game series of UST versus iAcademy. Blue zone for them, gets stuck. Babyface, he has to survive. They need this Drake, but they're risking it all. And there's the arrow for the stun. And we see Carrot slow on mana, can't tumble anymore. Putting the members of Game Changers back. Here comes the Force Stun, will not connect. And with that said, Babyface is very low. The Ocean Drake in the side of Game Changers, but for import against Sarah, that's going to be a 1-for-1 Ranger. Cannibal Rush for the slow zone. And I think this is a nightmare for the Teletigers. We see Sawyer get that double kill and maybe the triple, but no. Again, but look at that beautiful glacial prison, immediately removing Pipiso and Carrots, going all in on the Sinigan, gets the double kill, and now on to here under the turret. Could this be the triple? But yes, it is the triple, and the ace of the game, unofficial ace.
Yeah, sorry, is still alive in this
looks like UST will just be running away with this game. Let's see, Doc will not connect, but heal. He cannot survive. And with that said, Carrots goes in onto episode. Final hour is proc, and that said, this is going to be the Teletigers securing Game 1 here. Carrots going in deep, going behind the lines, gets episode. And Sinigang, the only one remaining, the Force God, will not reconnect, but Sinigang will give the double kill to Carrots.
Yeah, and with that ace, I think a well-played game by them. They're gonna knock down the final Nexus turret, and man, Carrots just didn't take any damage that fight.
Well, I'm pretty happy that when comes Season 8, that Carrots and Race will not have to steal battery. But let's wrap it up. Game 1 goes to the Teletigers.
Yeah.
Not enough Garena shells to buy the latest League of Legends skin? On sale now? Get shells anytime, anywhere with your Globe or Touch mobile number. Go to gamer.com.ph and sign up with your mobile number and enter the verification code you will receive via SMS. Log in and choose the game and pin you want. Check out to purchase the pin with your load or through your postpaid account and receive the pin on your phone instantly. Never miss a sale on your favorite League of Legends skins and champions with Gamer.